Hello, this is Rocky Mountain Edibles. I'm here to share with you another great plant. This amazing plant right here is the one that I will be sharing with you today. It is in the Apiaceae family, or the parsley family. It's in the same family of plants as you find the common carrot that you buy in the grocery stores. This is one of my very favorite plants. Today I'm going to share with you a few of the identifying features and some of the other facts about this plant so that you can better enjoy it when you come across it. You can find this plant in several states throughout the West. It prefers elevations of about 5,500 feet up to about 10,000 feet. And its preferred habitat is sagebrush meadows and also gravelly slopes. I usually find it on slightly sloping hillsides. It doesn't seem to have a preference as to which cardinal direction it's facing. I have found this plant on eastern facing slopes and western facing slopes. You can find it flowering sometime between May through July, again, dependent on the elevation. This incredible plant is known by the common name Great Basin Desertparsley and the Latin name Lomatium triternatum. One of the key identifying characteristics of this plant is the flower color. You'll notice that it is a very obvious yellow color. Many of the other plants in the Apiaceae family have white or off-white coloring to them. So this can actually help you to feel more confident in separating an edible Apiaceae family member from one of its poisonous relatives. Many of the poisonous Apiaceae family member plants actually have white flowers. The next thing I'll notice about a plant in this family is I'll notice very quickly the leaf structure, which allows me to narrow it down even further, usually down to a genus and most of the time down to the species level very quickly. So I'll share with you what those things are. I'm going to go ahead and dig this up right now. Great Basin Desert Parsley belongs to a genus of plants that's closely related to a number of other genera within the Apiaceae family. And things actually can get really complicated in identifying one species from another within these several very closely related and sometimes interrelated genera. Botanists have done a number of phylogenetic studies, and they have recently been revising the names of various genus types and also of species types as they're finding out more and more about the unique genetic makeup of these plants. It is usually easiest to identify members of the carrot family in the flower stage, and in fact it's really important to actually identify the plants during that stage, since there are several plants within the parsley family that are poisonous. Every member of the carrot family has what's called a compound umbel. So I think of an umbrella, and you'll see what that looks like there. Now, there are a number of other wild plants, edible and not edible, and some even poisonous, that have umbels. The carrot family, or parsley family, has a compound umbel. So you'll notice a number of little tiny umbrellas coming up from the main flower stem right there. I wanted to tell you one more interesting characteristic about the flowers on Great Basin Desert Parsley. So I'm actually going to remove one of the compound umbels here. You'll notice that there are anywhere from 2 to 3 of the umbels that extend out at a much sharper angle from the rest of the umbel structure. So you can maybe see it a little better from this vantage point. You can see this one is almost parallel to the ground compared to the other ones, and it has a flower stem that is much longer than the other ones. This is a fairly common characteristic found in this particular species of plant, but I've also noticed it in some of the other species that belong to other genera within the closely related range of genera that I mentioned. For instance, Lomatium orientale, which I did a video for, I think last year or the year before, is a great case in point. It also has a similar characteristic. That plant actually has a fluorescence that is very white with slight hints of purple or kind of almost a blackish look in the tiny fluorescences that occur within the flower structure. There are several edible plants within the parsley family that have a yellow flower. So after initially seeing the yellow flower, which is what first calls my attention to the plant, I then look at the leaf structure, and you'll notice the very unique leaf structure of this plant. So as I mentioned, this plant is referred to by the Latin name Lomatium triternatum, and that's in reference to the fact that the leaf structure is biternate. You'll notice the very unique leaf structure of the plant here. What I look for is basically these three little leaflets here, and they are kind of a simple nature. They're not incised in any way. According to the flora guides, this plant is anywhere from 1.5 decimeters tall up to 6 decimeters tall. You can eat the leaves, you can eat the flowers, and also this root is filled with starches that are very nutritious and absolutely delicious. You can eat this raw, but as with most plants, you actually need to, or at least you're better served in cooking it, because that helps to transform some of the sugars into more digestible forms. Otherwise, a lot of the nutritional value of this is lost. So one of the ways I enjoy eating the wild edibles the most is by roasting them over the fire. Sometimes I like to fry them in oil or even bear fat. I want to remind you about harvesting ethic. It's really important to only dig in places where it's legal to dig, and to keep in mind the overall size of the colony for that particular plant. For instance, if you find about 100 plants, you might only want to collect about 10 at the most. I try to be very careful about that. In fact, I usually don't even dig up that many out of respect for the plant, and also the fact that when you dig it up, it destroys the plant, and I enjoy being able to come back year after year and see these plants. I typically do not dig these plants up. I only rarely will sample them to eat them. They're just such an incredible testament to the diversity that exists within nature, and also they stand as a testament to the wild foods and medicines that the Native Americans relied on for their livelihood. Also, I want to remind you that this video is not intended to be the sole resource that you use for identifying these. In fact, this is really only intended for educational purposes. If you ever are tempted to try out any of these plants, you need to do your own research. I have done extensive research into all of these plants, and I always make sure that I am 130% positive of the identification before I ever even try a plant. So please make sure you do your own independent research using a variety of botanical guides and also ethnobotanical guides. Hey, I'm sure that you enjoy identifying these wonderful edible and medicinal plants as much as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and check out some of my other videos. I will continue to release some videos this summer.